A very pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Motorsports Magazine, the online edition of MSM. We are at the Airborne Speedway in midst of reconstruction for the 2009 season. I'm Rick Knowles, joined by Rob Knowles. In just a minute, Rob's going to be talking with Airborne's promoter Mike Perotti about all the stuff that's been going on here in the off season. And Rob's certainly quite a change in the old Airborne half mile.
Rick, the concept was we wanted to document a lot of the work that's going on beforehand. Not only, of course, will we see the finished product in a week or 2 weeks, but we wanted to let the people see some of the work that is involved in making the various changes that are going on here at the Speedway. There's a lot of excitement online, and we wanted to get some information right from Mike Perotti and let the people see online as well as in Motorsports Magazine some of the work that's going on. I mean, we're here on Inspection Saturday, which was Saturday, April 18th. Crew's busy at work, still working on different facets of the project, an ongoing project that still has a lot to be completed, but a lot has been done in the last 3 weeks to a month, and a lot more will continue, Rick, as they get this racetrack up and ready for the opening week on May 2nd.
As we tape this, 2 weeks, still opening day, and we're told everything right on schedule, ready to go.
And that's a good sign as well. And, you think about all the things that have been done here, and it really is a testimony to the people that are working on this project, being able to keep to that schedule with all the different improvements. And again, we'll have Mike tell us it's a long list of things. It's not just the racetrack, which is what, of course, we've heard a lot about, but a lot of other changes that are being made as well. The lights, the wiring that's here, the tower and the press box. A lot of changes that are taking place, and we'll hear it right from Mike.
All right, Gene Gagne on camera for us. He's going to flip the camera around and give us some shots of some of the things that are going on here at Plattsburgh's Airborne Speedway, and Rob will be talking with Mike Perotti in just a moment.
Well, you get a look at some of the work that is ongoing, today at least, working on pit road. That's just one of the changes that is happening to the track surface itself, the pit road area, which was in much need of a repave and repair. And Mike, talk about first the improvements that are being made that we're seeing going on right now with the pit road.
Well, one of the reasons why we did a lot of this improvement to this racetrack was to book bigger shows, and with bigger shows come bigger distance races, and primarily that pit road is being prepared now for the ACT 300 lap race, so they can make pit stops, and of course we'll probably be using it for other divisions as well as we go along.
And of course that's just a part of the work that has been going on here, and we were talking to you earlier off camera, but at this point everything appears to be on schedule.
The spring has been very good weather-wise. Today it's drizzling a little bit. This is really the first day in 10 days I think that we've had any precipitation, but we're still able to work, so it's been great.
Right now we're standing atop turns 3 and 4, and we'll have our cameraman Gene Gagne pan over in this direction towards turns 3 and 4. And I think one of the things about Airborne Speedway that made it sometimes difficult to get around previously is that you had sets of turns that were really difficult for drivers to get a setup on, and you had some bank in 1 and 2, you had 3 and 4 that were primarily flat. Well, you've taken care of that situation. There's a lot of bank as we stand on top of it now in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, there is. The track was in need of repair, the actual surface. We could have just kept patching. If you walked around here or drove around, it was really rough and had a bunch of patches, and it was really in bad shape. So Steve Fuller just decided to redo the whole thing, and when he wanted to do that, we decided to do something that has only been done at probably half a dozen racetracks in the country, and it's the latest craze as far as racetracks are going is progressive banking, which means 2-degree increments in 15-foot sections and banking in the corners. Obviously everyone knows that the fast way anywhere is a short way around, so previously here it's always been a race to the bottom to gain a position. Now we really don't know. We know that the bottom won't be the beneficial lane to be in, but I think that you'll see 2 and 3 wide racing here a lot with this new type of racetrack that we've put in.
All right, let's talk about 3 and 4 specifically. As we said, we're on the top of turns 3 and 4, and we have to be at least 10 feet higher in the air now than what we would have been had we been in the same spot last October.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 10-foot difference from top to bottom in a 60-foot span. So it's quite a lot different. You know, this, which is over about 10 degrees, I guess, somewhere in that area. But it used to be 5 degrees, so we've really doubled the banking. But again, more importantly, is the progression between the different grooves. You know, if we would have just went right straight from top to bottom, we would have had the same thing we had last year or previous years. Just, you know, using 30 feet or 25 feet of racetrack, and the rest of it was never even run on. So we expect to utilize the whole 60 feet.
And one of the things that we've seen with tracks that are progressively banked, as you just alluded to, sometimes the fastest way around might be in the middle of the track. Sometimes it might be down low, depending on how the car is set up. Sometimes it could be even up near the wall.
Yeah, you have a whole bunch of options. You can set your car up for top, the middle, the bottom, or you can just use all those lanes and have your car set up neutral and be able to use any part of the racetrack. No one can really hold you up with this type of deal.
And speaking of the wall, that's another change that had to happen with the bank being put in coming off of turn number 4. And Gene is on that area right now. You had to put in a new wall coming off the 4th turn.
Yeah, concern or safety is our major concern here. That's the first and foremost. And as you can see, we've replaced the whole front stretch fence. We tore it all down, and we put up all new pipe to hold the fence in place. It's a safety barrier. And then, with the track being higher, we had to raise the wall, put a whole new wall in, as you can see, down towards the start-finish line. And then again in turn 1, where we raised the track, we've added onto that wall also.
And we'll talk about turns 1 and 2 next. Now, there was a little bit more of a bank over in 1 and 2, so I would imagine fill-wise, maybe they didn't need to bring in as much material over there as they did over here in 3 and 4.
Well, we just, moved it around a little bit. We really didn't have to do much there. And the same here, we just pushed them from the top to the bottom, and we didn't have to move much fill really to get it to where it is now.
All right, we'll have some more questions for Mike, perhaps change our vantage point and go to a different area of the racetrack in just a second. Well, now a different view as we stand atop the tower. Last year, Mike, about a third of the tower was replaced, where sponsors of the night and different folks have enjoyed the racing. But now those changes that were made last year to about a third of the box has now been complete. You've replaced the rest of the tower for the season. Yeah,
actually, we hadn't planned on it, but we had a lot of wind damage and water damage after that this winter. Spring, so we've just replaced the damaged areas and redid the existing old part actually.
And the concept for the tower underneath is that it'll have a similar design to the new section that was put in last year.
Yeah, it'll be exactly the same with the seating along the front, looking out the windows, and then bar stool tables behind that.
So hypothetically, it might accommodate now almost just about twice as many people as what it would have last year with that two-tiered seating that they put in.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's really nice deal. It works out very well.
Something else that we see new right in front of us is up and down the front stretch, new lights that have also been installed.
Yeah, it's always been typically pretty dark here. A lot of speedways are dark, but this thing's going to really be lit up. Again, with the amount of light that we have here, we could do a televised nighttime show. So we're really in a position to accommodate any type of series to Airborne now.
People might look at the light standards now and see one or two lights atop some of them, but we were talking earlier and you said eventually those things will be full of lights, and along the front stretch it should be much easier for the fans to see the drivers, and eventually you've made some changes with the backstretch lighting as well. I know some of the poles have been adjusted.
Yeah, all the poles that have been there for years, were leaning over and weren't straight. We've replaced or straightened everything up. Eventually those will all be replaced with aluminum poles also, but we've changed the crossbars on them, and we'll be putting all new lighting on those poles as well.
All right. In addition to the different lights that have been installed, the new lights that have been installed, a whole bunch of new wiring that is taking place along the front stretch, and something that's of interest to us. I know the PA system is supposed to be new and improved as well. If they could only improve the announcers.
The announcers are great. Yeah, we put new speakers up as well. Everything's pretty much just things all brand new. We've rewired everything, and new lighting. Like I said, new lighting, new racetrack, a lot of new race cars, and hopefully a lot of new fans.
And just to our left, behind the camera, a new press box as well, or scoring tower, I guess, where the announcers as well as the scorers and race officials will be taking care of race control. That is still in progress. They're still working on that, and when that is all wrapped up, it'll be a nice area for the scorers that will work in there as well as the race personnel.
Yeah, exactly. That's our control tower. Have all of our scorers, race director, timing will be done from up there, and of course you guys, Rick and Rob Knowles.
And that's something that's new as well. You mentioned the timing, new scoring and timing system that has been put in place by the track this year.
Yeah, that's a big improvement. Digital timing, transponders attached to every car. We can get timing to the thousandth of a second for each car, each lap throughout the whole racing season, and more importantly, positions where you were, like when the caution came out, or if you have a close finish at the start-finish line, just go right to the computer and it'll give you exactly who was there first.
And last year we had some close finishes where we had to go to the videotape to try to check things out, and Gene was right on the finish. But this really doesn't leave much of a doubt when I'm sure it's measured down to probably the thousandth of a second.
It is down to the thousandth, and there's no doubt who come across the line first.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you when we were up in 3 and 4, and I don't know if you alluded to this or not, but why was this the right time to get all of these changes and to make all these changes here at the racetrack?
Oh, well, I'm not sure if it was the right time. We think it is the right time. That's really Steve Fuller and having a lot of guts and vision and confidence, and so far in the fans that have supported it, the local businesses that have supported us, and the racers that have supported us. Everything's been very, very positive, and I'm sure if it wasn't, we wouldn't be doing these improvements. And we're very optimistic that in this economic climate that people are going to stay home a little more and look for entertainment to do close to home. And that I know movie theaters were up in January 18%, so that's a good sign to a business like ours that people are going to come out and support us.
I know in the economic times that we're experiencing, not just in New York State or in upstate New York, but nationally, people might think about some of the changes that are going on here and think, wow, that really seems to go against the trend, the way the economy has been struggling, and here's the track spending thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on these improvements.
Yeah, I don't know of any other track anywhere in the country. I travel all around the country from coast to coast to different racetracks and talk to all kinds of race people every day. And I don't know of any other racetrack other than Thunder Road's putting in, I guess I heard some new bleachers, but they're celebrating their 50th season this year, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. Tom's another one that's not afraid to take chances and do things up. But there's not many people that are going out on a limb and investing in anything right now. So it's really fun and exciting to be part of this. And when I told Steve the other day that it's going to be really kind of boring when this project's done. I mean, we're going to continue. This is a big project, but we're going to continue each year to do improvements. There won't be anything to this magnitude, but and I also told him that I was going to resign from my position so I could come back and race, because it's going to be a lot of fun racing here.
Now, the reaction that you have received from the guys that race here on a regular basis, or maybe from groups that are seeing the information about Airborne online, or people that you run into in your travels, have you had much of a reaction from those folks? It's
overwhelming. It's just unbelievable. I had a call from New Jersey this morning. A guy saw it online down there, and they were interested in coming up for the Big Block Super Dirt Series show that we're going to have in June 7th. And I went to Malta last night. We raced down there, and just the people that's all they talk about when they come up to me. It's not about my racing or the races that night. It's about what we're doing up here. It's it's pretty big, within the racing community, the racing world.
And the excitement, we've been working here now for several years, and we've been fans of the track before that, speaking for Rick as well, for a long time. And I can't remember the level of excitement that people have for this place going into a season, and that certainly has to be gratifying.
It really is just really cool to be part of this. I'm telling you, it's really a highlight of my life to tell you the truth, in my involvement of racing. It's just a lot of fun and really exciting. When I was a kid, this place was really alive, and I think that we're going to bring it back to where it was in the 60s.
All right, we're going to make one more stop. We'll head over toward turns 1 and 2 and check things out from over there, and wrap up our interview with Mike Perotti. You're watching Motorsports Magazine on Hometown Cable as well as online. And we'll wrap up our interview with Mike Perotti. We're now sitting up on top of turns 1 and 2. Gene panning down towards the front stretch, and even with the video camera, Mike, it's tough to appreciate the grade in this track. I mean, I had looked at the photographs that were online, and actually being here and seeing it firsthand, I'm not sure how much justice the video camera will do as well, but you really can appreciate it when you're here and you actually see the difference in the track itself. And especially what strikes me is coming off of turn 4, it almost looks like you're running downhill on that outside groove.
Well, you're definitely running downhill. There's 10-foot difference between turn 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, so it's really running downhill. It's going to be like riding a roller coaster up there. And as far as getting this on film or pictures, you really can't, and anyone that's been to Daytona or any of the high bank tracks that has watched them on TV and then gone there, you always hear them say, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe how steep that was." It's because you can't do it justice with film.
And I also noticed that along the backstretch, things are filling up as well. I know sponsorships here at the track are up, and another good sign for the Speedway.
Yeah, it is. We've been extremely lucky, and we're having people call us to get involved. It's really exciting when you have that type of business.
I know Gene got a shot of the tower that we were standing on for the middle portion of our interview with Mike, and you can see some of the work that is still ongoing. A lot of the finishing touches of that still have to be completed, both on the outside as well as on the inside. But when all of this is done, people are going to leave here, and I think they're going to leave this racetrack after watching a Saturday night of racing action or any racing action that might take place here, be it the go-karts in the middle of the week. And I think they're going to leave here feeling that in upstate New York, in our greater Plattsburgh area, we've got a pretty nice jewel here with all the work that's been done.
Absolutely. It really is a nice facility, one of the nicest facilities in the Northeast or the country, even for that matter. It's really great. It's going to be. It's not just about racing. It's about being here with a whole bunch of different people, and it's about a happening each week. It's a lot, and racing's a part of it. And as you were talking about earlier, the other neat thing about this track is it's not super banked. I mean, there's a lot of tracks that are banked more, but it's the progressive banking that's going to provide a lot of excitement. 3 and 4 wide racing, and that's something you don't see on blacktop, or you haven't seen here very much either. So we're really excited. Can't wait to see how things are going to go.
And when we speak with you next, a lot of the work, at least to the track, will be finished, and we'll just see how things finished up with the work crews. Of course, a lot of their equipment still sitting out on the racetrack, but eventually we'll see a lot of green grass in the infield, and we can't wait to see race cars going around this place.
In a short period of time, we'll be out here practicing, and all of our guesswork will have come to an end, and we'll see what it's like. And
when the finished product is complete, you'll come back with us, and we'll maybe take a similar tour, maybe not as long a tour, but we'll just go over the different work that's been done. Yeah,
we'd love to have you come back in a week or so. I'd like to get you in one of our 2-seater cars and maybe give you a ride around.
Well, maybe we'll get Rick to do that. How's that?
That'd be good. I'd love to get Rick.
I'd like to see Rick try to go through the window in one of those cars.
We both owe Rick. He's got ahead of us here the last few days, so I'd like to get him in a car.
All right. Well, nice job, Mike, and we're looking forward to the 2009 racing season, which is just a couple of weeks away now as we film this. Saturday, May 2nd, will be the opening night here at the Speedway, and all 5 divisions at Airborne will be in action on Saturday, May 2nd. Thanks for Mike. Thank you, Mike, for taking us around the Speedway and showing us all these renovations.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Mike Perotti, everybody, and we thank you for joining us online with Motorsports Magazine, as well as across the northern tier and through the greater Plattsburgh and Clinton County area on Hometown.